G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. What I'd love to do today, on yet another spectacular Sydney spring day, is to talk to you about a book. And the book that I've selected for today's episode is entitled The Things We Cannot Say, a book that was published on the 26th of February 2019 by an author who goes by the name of Kelly Rimmer. There are moments in life where you want to speak, but the words just will not come. You feel something pressing behind your ribs, a truth, a memory, a goodbye, but it stays trapped, maybe because of fear. Maybe because the pain feels way too big, or maybe because you learned early on that silence was safer than truth. This book, The Things We Cannot Say, is a story for anyone who has lived inside that silence. In this novel, we meet Alice, a modern-day woman raising a child with non-verbal autism, and her grandmother, who can no longer speak after a stroke. When the grandmother urgently tries to communicate something from her past, Alice is drawn into a journey across time and memory. What she uncovers is the story of a young woman, Alina, in war-torn Poland, whose life was shattered by the Nazi invasion and by the love she could never let go of. Two women, two timelines, and a lifetime of things left unspoken. This book is about motherhood, resistance, sacrifice, and the quiet power of love. So let's go on a journey now and see what we can glean, what we can take, and what we can put away into our inventory of skills, knowledge, wisdom, and potential power. So the first key lesson to come from this book is that some pain lives across generations, even when no one talks about it. Alina's suffering during the war becomes part of her granddaughter Alice's life decades later. The trauma may not be spoken aloud, but it still echoes. This book reminds us that what is not healed often gets passed on and handed down, but so can courage and strength. The second message to come from this book is that silence is not the absence of love. Alice's son cannot speak, but he is deeply, deeply connected to her. Her grandmother loses the ability to speak, but she desperately wants to pass on her enduring story. This novel shows us that love is not always spoken. It is felt, it is shown, and sometimes it survives in silence. Another message to come from this author is that women often carry impossible weights and still keep going. Both Alina and Alice face unbearable choices. Alina must survive a brutal war. Alice must navigate the daily reality of raising a child who needs more than the world often understands. They stumble, they grieve, they doubt themselves, but they continue. This story honours the invisible labour of women. We move on to talk about how the past does not stay buried. Alice thinks she knows her grandmother, but when secrets from Alina's past begin to surface, everything starts to change. The book shows us that truth has a way of resurfacing even after decades, and that sometimes facing the past is the only way to find peace in the present. Trauma reshapes a person, but most importantly, we need to understand is it does not erase them. Alina loses everything she once knew: her home, her love, and her country. But even through heartbreak, she holds on to who she is. The book reminds us that people are more than their wounds, that dignity can indeed survive even in the darkest places. Choosing love is never easy during war or in everyday life. Alina has to choose whether to risk everything for love, and Alice has to choose how to love her family when she feels stretched, thin, and unheard. Love is not a simple emotion in this book. It is a choice. It is a risk, and sometimes a sacrifice. And the last key message to come from this book is where we look at the things we cannot say, but these things still shape us. The silences in this book are full of meaning. What Alina could not say shaped her entire life. What Alice's son cannot say changes how she sees the world. This novel reminds us that even if words are never spoken, feelings still matter. Truth still lives beneath the surface, and it deserves to be held with care. This book, The Things We Cannot Say, is a story of grief, love, memory, and voice. It is about what happens when we finally listen to ourselves, to our families, and to the stories we were never told. It reminds us that it is never, ever too late to speak and never too late to hear the truth. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club on this beautiful, beautiful day. Wishing you all the best. Take care and bye for now.